Hi everyone, it's me, Tim. Today I want to talk about Nuance again, particularly watching my videos and commenting on them. Keep in mind, you can comment on anything you want. I just kind of want to talk about some of the comments I'm seeing. There was either enough of them that I felt like I should address them here, or they were so wild I didn't want to call the person out for saying it, but I thought I'd address it. Now, I've already done one video, and I'll link it below, on using Nuance to watch my videos, in which I basically said, look, there are really no heroes or villains in all my stories. It's just people in complicated, stressful situations doing their best. Despite that, many of you want to turn them into heroes and villains. Okay. But the thing that I've been seeing recently are people are interpreting things I say in wild ways, often declaring that they know what I'm thinking and why I did what I did or said what I said. And I thought I talked about this in my memoir video, where I pretty much said I didn't do this in my memoirs for the very reason that you are often wrong about that. It's one thing to say, I think Tim hates this kind of video game, or Tim hates this kind of video game. Yeah, he hates it. It's another thing to go, well, based on what he said about this, I think Tim might hate this video game. Those are two very different statements. One is a very much, I know what's going on, my subjective viewpoint is objective fact. It's a strange way of phrasing it, and some of these may just be phrasing things. But I'll go through them, talk about the highlights of what I've seen, and why I think you need to be careful. Not that you can't post it, just if this is really what you I think, you're often wrong. And before I do, let me just make a quick note. I do not delete any comments from my channel, except scammers. There was 1 or 2 days where scammers really started posting a lot in my video, and I stopped it. Other than that, if you post a comment and you don't see it go up, or you see it go up and then it goes away an hour later, it's not me. I'd tell you who it was, but the last time I mentioned that name on my channel, all the comments were turned off on my channel. So it is who you think it is, but it's not me. So let's talk about some of the comments I've seen, and I will address them one by one. So one of them is, people will talk about how I mention my old games like Fallout or Arcanum. And then they go, wow, Tim is obsessed. I don't know if you know what this channel's about, but it's me telling stories about game development. That goes back to 1981. There's going to be a lot of talk about old games. A lot of people are here because of Fallout, which is, as of now, a game that began production almost 30 years ago. So I don't know if you are thinking I'm not going to talk about older games, especially games that I had a lot of involvement with. Games like Arcanum, where I have the source code, where I can go into extreme detail. I don't think that's obsession. I kind of think that's what this channel's about. But, okay. Similarly, whenever I talk about bad events, especially why I left Interplay and why I left Carbine, I've seen 2 different kinds of comments there. One is, Tim is still angry. And another one is, Tim is acting like a victim. Let's do that latter one first. I don't think there are heroes or villains or victims in these. I've talked about things where I've done stuff, like I almost walked away from Fallout at the very beginning because I didn't qualify for a mortgage. Maybe that makes me a villain, but you never would have known because Fallout never would have been made. So there are things that people do because they have a lot of stuff on their plate. You know, Interplay had an ongoing concern to make payroll every 2 weeks. That's tough. So I don't read into why anyone there did what they did. I was hoping for the same kind of, concession made to me, but apparently that's not happening. Also, saying I'm still angry, I find this is often what people say when I bring up any event where they or someone they like or someone else is being put in a bad light. They're like, well, you're just obviously still angry, or you're obviously obsessed with that, or you're holding on to it, or whatever. I have a lot of notes. A lot of my notes are good things. A lot of my notes are bad things. People are okay with me remembering the good things, but sometimes they're not happy that I remember the bad things, especially if they're in it. And trust me, I've gotten some feedback on that. All I can tell you is my notes are my notes. I have a lot of things that happened. I'm not necessarily holding on to these things. I'm not walking around every day going, oh, I wish I had stayed on Fallout 2. What happened, happened. And like I said, if I had stayed on Fallout 2, you would never have gotten Arcanum or Troika Games. But I'm not holding on to it as much as when I go through all my notes and try to come up with what my whole career was, these events happened, and I'm going to talk about them. I'm as little obsessed with those as I'm obsessed with things like, I don't know, how Arcanum's scripting system worked. I don't think I'm obsessed with it, but I spent 15 minutes going into detail in that a few weeks ago. It is what it is. Also, people ask about these all the time. I mean, look at the comments. We're at 43,000 subscriptions. Way more than I ever thought it would be. I really thought it was going to be a few hundred. Obviously, people are interested in this, and I'm trying to go back and forth between talking about topics that were on my list and talking about answering questions people have. So these are things people want to know about. And I hope if people go into game development, they go in better armed now about things to expect, good and bad. I bring up my idea books and my notes all the time, and I've seen people go, oh, Tim is really just trying to make a new game. He's looking for funding somehow. No, I am not. I have been approached about it, and I've said no. So I don't know how I can make it any clearer. I've moved past that. I do like to talk about games. I like to talk about the games I'm making now. I like to talk about game ideas I've had. But that's all it is. And my idea books are also my notes, and that's a source of a lot of what this channel is about. So that's why that comes up a lot. Posting every day, which I thought was a good thing. I've seen Tim just wants attention, and Tim thinks he's still relevant. I've even said, I may not be relevant anymore. But again, a lot of people are asking these questions, and for me, posting a 10-minute video every day is a lot easier than posting an hour video every week. Mainly because an hour video would require a lot more editing, which I'm not good at, and finding that empty hour to film it in or a longer space. I can come up with 10 minutes a day to do this. It is very hard for me to come up with an hour and a half to film a longer form and then figure out when I'm going to do all the editing for it and get that done. And if I make mistakes in it, having to go back and refilm, that's just not going to happen. I like the everyday short videos. I'm collecting them in playlists. You should check my channel. There's playlists by game company, there's playlists by games, and then there's just a general game development playlist. So if you want a longer form, like if you want to know about Fallout, go find the Fallout playlist and just watch all my videos. I mentioned in one video that it was interesting to me that reviews of my games did not correlate with what I thought were my best games. And I even pointed out by best meaning the one I had the most fun working on, the one that I subjectively thought were the better games, or even the ones that sold the best. They don't correlate. Several people posted something along the line of, Tim hates criticism. No. I love criticism, especially constructive criticism. What I would say right about that is I often do not understand some criticism. I don't understand what some reviewers look for, especially when the review starts with, well, I don't normally review RPGs, but, Arcanum came across my desk, so I guess I have to review it. No, you don't. And I'm hoping you won't. These are the kind of things that I just look at and go, I don't know why this review even exists. But some things I've seen happen on this channel a little bit. I see it happen on game fan sites a lot. So I thought I'd bring it up. Some fan will post their own ideas, but then they do nothing but berate anyone else's ideas or anyone who's critiquing their own ideas, as if their idea is this perfect diamond that they've, are allowing you the pleasure to view and the privilege. On this channel, when I've seen that happen, there was once or twice where I went, hey, stop doing this. And somebody went, well, Tim just hates his fans. No. No. There's something about having people post their ideas as objective fact that I find distasteful. It's why I don't try to do that. Now, the tough part is when you're a game director, your ideas have to be the guiding light. You're the captain steering that boat. So that's when your subjective ideas become objective reality. But in no other case does that happen. So all of these reasons and things I've seen posted is why I don't like to guess other people's intentions. I didn't do it in my memoirs. I don't know why people did the things they did or said what they said. I don't know what they think. I don't know what they feel. Even if they tell me. I've had people tell me, well, I said it because of this. And then I'm like, I think you were just the... And then they go, yeah. So sometimes they're lying. Sometimes they don't even know they're lying. They just don't always know. So what am I asking? I'm asking for people to listen to my stories as these are things that I can pretty much guarantee, in many cases can prove, these things happened. I said what I said. I did what I did. The people I'm talking about said what they said. They did the things I'm saying they did. Everything else, why they did it, what they were thinking, how they were feeling, conjecture, which I don't really want to get into. And just to reiterate, there are no heroes, there are no villains, there are no victims. These are just people who are really trying to work as hard as they can and do the best they can in a game industry that's really complicated, really hard to work in for a variety of reasons. I have a whole video about that. And is very open to external criticism. So do what you want. I just felt like throwing up one last appeal to have a little bit more nuance when you watch these things. But anyway, thank you for watching.